Welcome to another episode of Trafficking Insights. Today I'm going to dive into some victims or survivors' escapes, how these heroic survivors were able to escape their captors, their traffickers. The first story I would like to tell about this happened in Colombia. It was August of last year. It was a Venezuelan miner. She was trapped in a high-risk area called Tibú. This area is controlled by guerrilla groups, paramilitary personnel like the FARC spin-offs and the ELN. These are, like I said, paramilitary terrorist groups, guerrilla groups, heavily armed, and they're known for kidnapping, extortion, forced recruitment, and human trafficking. They recruit especially miners, women miners of Venezuelans. They're heavily targeted because it's like right on the border. It's basically like no man's land, really, right between Colombia and Venezuela. And we got the information that she needed an extraction from a prominent personnel in that area. Gave us a heads up because the mother is looking for her. The problem is that there are landmines all around, so nor police nor military personnel can really do the rescue because we don't know where these landmines are, and it's a jungle. These armed guards, former military, active military, know the area very well, and we don't. Not even the local police, so they can be hidden everywhere, booby traps all over. So basically, she had to walk 83 miles, roughly 83 miles, 134 kilometers on foot from Tibú to Cúcuta, Colombia, so we can meet her there, pregnant. It was so heroic. I don't even know if a healthy man can do that, especially knowing there's landmines around and heavily armed guerrillas. So applause to her. It was a bold move, but a risk that had its reward. She met us at the border, quickly gave her water, food, gave her gifts for when her child is born. So she won't miss anything. To this day, we still give her psychological care. Her medical needs are covered, and we're taking care of the baby needs as well. But like I said, I mean, when you hear these self-rescues, there's a lot of self-rescues that we were able to crack cases thanks to self-rescue women that escaped their traffickers, and then we got information from that person. Like I don't know, like statistically wise, how often that is, but for me in ATV, I think is like half of that we are able to crack cases thanks to a victim that escaped the hands of their trafficker. Operation Catalea, which I will make a future episode on, which was the biggest operation in Dominican Republic, was thanks to an escapee. I'm hoping to have her on the podcast, interview her in November when we go to Colombia and have a gathering of a lot of survivors we were able to rescue from Cúcuta, about 50 of them, and we're gonna do a special event to let them know they are not forgotten. Some of these survivors there will be cases that we had 3 years ago, like Catalea, and there'll be cases that we had a month ago. So we want to have that day a special day for them, and it's International Day of Violence Against Women on November 25th. Like my logo says, and like I always says, beyond the numbers. These survivors are not just numbers. You need to question a lot of nonprofits that you may be supporting, that they have exaggerated numbers in their profile and their website. That's just numbers, and some of them are exaggerated. Like I said, how you say you rescued 7,000 victims, 3,000, 4,000, whatever, in a short period of time. Show me how. Do you know their names? How did that go down? Question them. When you want to question any of my numbers, because like I said, they're not just numbers, but I have to show you how many has been intervened and helped, right? I have 90% of their names, and I know what happened. I know how it happened. A lot of them I can't tell you what's happening to them now because they haven't kept in contact, but most of them, yes. This particular Venezuelan minor, my hat goes off to her. It was an amazing thing. The second story I like to talk about is also a Colombian, 23 years old. She was trafficked in the Dominican Republic by a husband and wife trafficker. Okay, that day when she freshly came in, they already forced her to have sex with 7 clients. When she didn't want to anymore, she was beaten and starved when she didn't meet the quota. One day she had too many clients, and they were gonna bring her to another one in a farm area. She just couldn't anymore. She was physically, mentally, and everything, and she just couldn't anymore. On September 13th of last year, when a unsatisfied client began beating her, the trafficker put her in the vehicle and wanted to finish beating her because the client wanted his money back, and she couldn't take it anymore. As the vehicle was moving, she jumped out of the vehicle. Okay, the husband the husband and wife trafficker, the male came out the vehicle with a knife. He started slashing her. Thank God there was good Samaritans around that came and started screaming, hey, 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 what? And the guy got into his vehicle, scrum off, and they called the ambulance, and she got into the ambulance and was able to get some help. The Attorney General's office called it, and we started that, the psychological help, the immediate care, and now she's back home, of course, and she has her own business. She started working with her mom and pop. Her mom and pop has a business of sewing, and we purchased her own sewing gear, sewing machine and supplies. So she's now an entrepreneur with her parents, and they're doing very well. The latest case that happened about a month ago, it's not so happy ending yet. 4 victims were able to escape the traffickers, but one of them got shot in the stomach by the trafficker, and they removed her intestines. As of this podcast that I'm recording on September 17th, she's still in the hospital, not in critical condition anymore, but she's still in the hospital. The other 3 we were able to send back home, and we are constantly monitoring this survivor. Whenever they give her the release, we'll send her back home as well. She did a daring escape as well, just like the first survivor in Tibú, just like the second survivor in the Dominican Republic that jumped off the vehicle. She did a daring escape. It cost her intestines, but it shows the magnitude or the terror that they deal with every day, that they're willing to risk their lives to escape. Can you imagine, like, walking 83 miles, knowing there's landmines? I mean, I'd rather get killed by a landmine than keep getting tortured by these traffickers. I'd rather jump off a vehicle and possibly break my bones than keep having sex with these clients. I'd rather get shot than it just shows you what's going on in their minds, and it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. If you saw my first podcast, maybe, I don't know how to do it, but maybe it'll show here or here or here or here, whatever. With my wife being the first victim I rescued, she used to tell me, how she used to cry inside when, she used to get forced to have sex with sweaty, fat, ugly men that their breath stink, and they lick her face, and they don't take a shower and stuff, and no man she wanted on top of her, but it's just some days are worse, you know what I mean? And she used to cry inside and go home and jump in the shower, start crying, and try to scrub her skin off. Sometimes she said that the skin started to has some bleeding marks on it because of how scrubbing she was used to scrub so hard. It's too hard to imagine. I'm gonna put in my feet in other people's shoes, but it's too hard to imagine this, that, and I wish I can avenge, these girls for them. But God got that. I'm just glad that God has me in some part as my team to intervene in a lot of these cases. So if you guys like to help with these rescues and get these victims off the street, that off these hands of these terrible people, I'll leave a QR code for the donation either here or here. I don't know, yeah, to the editing. And so thank you once again for watching, and help me give a round of applause to these 3 survivors that escaped. There's plenty more stories, but I just wanted to touch on these 3 because it really moved my heart. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.